Resonating hearts. The city of Tokyo. At 2 in the morning is never truly silent, but for Ryuu, the hum of the streets had become a suffocating static. In his basement studio, a concrete bunker filled with glowing monitors and a labyrinth of tangled cables, Ryuu sat staring at a blank digital workstation. For 5 years, he had been the industry's ghost. He was the architect of the hits that made idols famous, yet his own name never appeared in the credits. He was Ryuu, the dragon, hidden in his cave, hoarding melodies that no longer made him feel a single thing. What's the point? He thought, his fingers hovering over the keys. I'm just rearranging mathematical patterns to make people dance. There's no blood in this. No pulse. He pressed a key, and a cold, synthetic beat pulsed through the room. He hated it. It sounded like a machine mimicking a heartbeat. With a low, tired growl, he shoved his chair back and headed for the exit. He needed air, or he was going to smash every expensive piece of equipment he owned. He emerged into the neon-soaked streets of Shibuya, where the lights bled into the puddles of a recent rainstorm. Most of the crowds had vanished, but as Ryuu turned a corner near a narrow alleyway, he heard something that shouldn't have been there. It wasn't the polished, auto-tuned pop he was forced to produce. It was raw. It was acoustic. And it was hopelessly out of tune with the city's cynicism. A young man sat on a weathered milk crate, a battered guitar in his lap and messy chestnut hair falling over his eyes. He was singing softly, a melody about waiting for the light even when the dawn is late. Ryuu stopped in his tracks. His heart, which had felt like a lead weight for years, gave a sudden, painful thud. He recognized those chords. They were from a scrap of a song he had abandoned 3 years ago, a piece of his soul he had uploaded to an anonymous forum once in a moment of whiskey-fueled vulnerability, then deleted in a fit of self-doubt. How does he have this? Ryuu wondered, a strange defensiveness rising in him. That was my lowest point. That song was a confession I never wanted heard. Ryuu's voice cut through the air like a knife as he told the boy that his bridge was terrible and he was flat on the C-sharp. The boy looked up, his amber eyes widening. He didn't look offended. He looked like he'd just seen a miracle. He stammered, asking if Ryuu was the one, the blue dragon from the forums he had been searching for 3 long years. Ryuu tried to lie, tried to walk away, telling the boy to just fix his tuning and go home. But the boy, whose name was Shin, wouldn't let him go. He chased after Ryuu, his guitar case banging against his legs, shouting that Ryuu's music had saved him. He said that when he moved to the city with nothing, when the loneliness felt like it might swallow him whole, that unfinished track was the only thing that felt true. He even had a name for it: Resonating Hearts. Ryuu wanted to lock his steel studio door and sink back into his gray world, but there was a terrifying level of honesty in Shin's eyes. It was the kind of look that made Ryuu feel exposed, as if the boy could see right through his expensive black hoodie and into the hollow space where his passion used to be. Reluctantly, he granted the boy 5 minutes. Inside, the studio felt different. Usually, it was a tomb. Now, with Shin standing in the center, it felt cramped. Shin looked at the synthesizers like he was standing in a cathedral. He sat on the floor, tuned his strings with shaking hands, and explained that the song was about the silence between 2 people and how music fills the gap. As Shin began to sing the lyrics he had written, Ryuu watched his throat move, watched the way his eyes closed in total concentration. Shin's voice wasn't perfect, but it possessed a warmth Ryuu hadn't felt in a decade. It was like a sunbeam hitting a frozen lake. Without a word, Ryuu's hands found the keyboard. He didn't think about the industry standards. He just followed the vibration of Shin's voice. He added a soft piano layer, then a pulse, then a soul. For the first time, The dragon wasn't hoarding his gold. He was sharing it. When the song ended, the silence wasn't heavy anymore. It was light. Shin was beaming, a small bead of sweat on his forehead, and Ryuu sat frozen, realizing the nuisance of a boy had just restarted his heart. The weeks that followed became a blur of caffeine and composition. Shin was like a burst of sunlight in the basement. He brought cheap convenience store ramen and sat cross-legged on the floor, his knees occasionally brushing against Ryuu's chair. Ryuu found himself noticing the smallest things. The way Shin bit the end of his pen when he was stuck on a rhyme, or the way his hair looked even messier under the studio's blue LED lights. Why am I looking at him so much? Ryuu would ask himself, focusing intensely on his monitor. He's just a lyricist. He's just a kid with a guitar. But then Shin would laugh at a bad joke or hum a harmony that perfectly matched Ryuu's mood, and the ghost felt more alive than he ever had during his years of fame. There were moments of pure fluff that Ryuu didn't know how to handle. Like the time Shin fell asleep on the studio couch, his head lolling to the side. Ryuu had spent 10 minutes just standing there, a blanket in his hands, debating whether to wake him or cover him. In the end, he tucked the blanket around Shin's shoulders with the gentleness of someone handling a fragile glass. Shin had mumbled something in his sleep. "Ryuu-san, that's beautiful." And Ryuu had to turn away because his face felt suddenly, inexplicably hot. One night, while struggling with a difficult arrangement, Shin reached over and placed his hand over Ryuu's on the keys. His skin was warm, a sharp contrast to the cold plastic of the equipment. He told Ryuu to stop playing what was correct and start playing what he felt. When Ryuu claimed he felt nothing, Shin whispered that he was a liar, that Ryuu's music was the loudest thing he had ever heard. In that moment, the walls Ryuu had built didn't just crumble, they vanished. He leaned in until their foreheads touched, the scent of rain and citrus on Shin's skin filling his senses. He called Shin a nuisance, his voice a low vibration, while Shin countered that they were a perfect match. They didn't need a grand stage to finish their story. On the night they completed the track, they returned to that same Shibuya alley. Ryuu brought a portable speaker, and Shin brought his guitar. As the music soared, Ryuu's complex production meeting Shin's heartfelt vocals, a crowd began to gather, but Ryuu didn't see the spectators or the flashes of phone cameras. He only saw Shin, glowing under the street lamps, singing the truth they had found together in the dark. When the last note faded, Shin reached out and interlaced his fingers with Ryuu's for the world to see. He told Ryuu they had done it, but Ryuu, looking at the boy who had brought color back to his life, simply smiled, a real, genuine smile that reached his eyes, and said that they were just getting started. The dragon had finally left his cave, and in the heart of the city, two separate rhythms had finally become a single, perfect song. If you've ever written a song, poem, or even a letter for someone, or if you'd like to hear more harmonies Ryuu and Shin create, like and subscribe.